I feel like Rune is the dirtiest talker of the series. Do you agree?
I know, and I love it.
He literally says, and I wrote it down, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Said, suck me like you mean it, you little bitch.
Yeah.
And welcome back to another episode of Romancing the Monsters. I'm Em.
Hi, I'm S.
I'm Seth.
And this week we read Sweet Ruin by Cressley Cole. We are on book, 17 of the series? No, 16 of the series. 15. Wait, which one is it?
15.
We're close to the end.
We are close to the end, folks. It's been a long time coming. And this book is about Rune and
Josephine. In Marge's defense, she read this book like months and months ago.
Yeah, in my defense, I thought we were going to record this a while ago. It didn't happen, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, so this book is about Jo and Rune. Seth.
All right. Well, we start off basically with a flashback right off the bat, and it's when our heroine was a child, so she was like 9, I think. And we find out she is Thaddeus' older sister. So yeah. Thaddeus is someone we met since, like, book 10.
Who saw that coming, first of all? Did you?
I didn't.
No, when I read it the first time, nope.
That was exciting, though.
I know. Because, like, I don't know. I was intrigued by Thaddeus, like, when we first met him. But, like, I wasn't ready for his book.
Well, also because I feel like so many of the characters in the series don't have a family, and then Thaddeus is so human in so many ways. Like, he's not, but he's the most human like character, I feel like. So you're like, I want you to have a family, and he does, which is great.
I know. And like, obviously, you know, like what he's been through with the order and like being a prisoner and all of that. So it was good to know that he had someone always fighting for him in his like his own corner. He never knew that she existed. Because, you know, he was like a baby when they got separated. They were in the system, and things happened, and they got found by a librarian who later becomes Thad's mom, so Miss B, like, we've always heard about her. It's nice to know the origins of that relationship. And basically, Jo, at 9 years old, was kind of a badass, and took out the city gangster, but ends up dying. Obviously, she doesn't end up dying. She gets, I guess, resurrected. She thinks she's a ghost at first, or a zombie, but then she ends up realizing she's a vampire because she thirsts for blood.
But she's also a phantom, so like, of course she was going to come back to life.
Yeah, but she doesn't figure that out until later. But yeah, she is a phantom / vampire. And then we end up meeting Rune, who finally we get information on the Moria? The bringers of doom.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally meet Orion.
I got thoughts on that, man.
Well, we don't even know what he is, to be honest, because he always alters his appearance.
We know he's Nyx's mate to be.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's to be written in the stars. Come on.
So, yeah. Although, one of the plots in this book, so Rune is tasked with going back to Gaia, which is Earth, and killing Nyx, and that was given to him by Orion. If like Nyx was his mate, why do you think, you know, killing her was like his, like, you know, his motive? Or was it his motive?
Because so many of the couples in this series, it's like that's what they want in the beginning. They're like tasked with killing this person, and they're like, oh fuck, she's my mate. Unless that wasn't his motive. Like, does he know? He doesn't know.
He also seems to know things happening before they happen. So, like, I don't know if that wasn't his ultimate goal, was to kill Nyx. Like, maybe it was something else that, like, I can't figure out yet, but, like...
I think it's just this game between them. I just think they're playing cat and mouse.
It's their
there ain't no mouse in this house. It's just cats.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just their version of foreplay, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we find out that our main man, Rune, is a serious man whore.
Mm.
He is also half demon, half fae, making him a dark fae. And we know that his fluids are poisonous. That means his, everything
Semen?
that goes along. His saliva.
Too.
His blood. Anyways, we meet him. Well, our heroine meets him while he's fucking 4 nymphs.
Is he fucking 4? He's not fucking all 4 of them, but the other 3 are kind of watching and waiting for their turn, right?
I think he already did that. Them. And then it's the 4th one's turn, and then he, kind of comes, but doesn't.
Well, he can't, because he would kill her.
No. He reached his climax,
yeah.
but until he's with his mate, he can't release any sperm. Yeah. Anyways, so that's how our heroine met our stand-up man, Rune.
How wild are these meet cutes, though? In what other series would you meet the hero that way and be totally cool with it? In what other series? You just don't, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm not reading the right series, but just feels like a really wild thing.
No, it was pretty wild. And I love how she was kind of mocking him and laughing at him as he was, going in there with the nymph. And she was just laughing. Because he wasn't obviously into it. He's done it for thousands and thousands of years. He's 7,000 years old, and
he was doing it for information, wasn't he?
Yeah. So basically, what he does is he exchanges his body and sexual pleasure for intel and information on his targets or anyone else in the lore. And he just that's what he does. And the nymphs are apparently very good information sources, because they're with everyone else and because they live in trees and in water, and they just have the ears everywhere. So Jo is instantly intrigued by him, and then she ends up drinking his blood, which she could ingest. And basically, Rune's just on board as soon as he gets a hit of her fangs.
Kind of reminded me of Lachlan, how Lachlan, after giving blood the first time, he was like, take everything from me. You know what I mean?
But the difference with Lachlan and him was that Lachlan hated vampires, whereas Rune doesn't really have a bias.
Yeah, I guess. But it's just funny to see these big alpha males suddenly being I am food for you. That's all I am now.
Anyways, to end things up really quickly, Jo wants an exclusive relationship, or to be exclusively with just each other. And Rune doesn't do monogamy. He's never tried it, nor does he want to. And anyways, they end up joining forces because Jo finds out that Thad knows Nyx, and we know Rune wants to kill Nyx, and Nyx kind of uses the pavement to, wipe the pavement with Jo, and poor thing got beat up real bad. And it leads Jo to think that she's holding Thad captive, and thus starts their trek across country to kill little Nixie.
Nyx is insane in this book. I love it.
I love it.
All right, so what did you think of the book overall? S, let's start with you.
I enjoyed it. I really loved... Well, first of all, Rune's a fucking idiot.
Yes.
A real fucking idiot. I really loved him up until a certain point. I'm just nope.
Yeah.
I got flashbacks of Bowen.
Oh my god.
Bitch ass Bowen.
Yes.
Fucking idiots. But I enjoyed it. I feel like they had for some reason I felt like they had a really cute moments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I really love Jo. I feel like she kind of reminded me kind of like Reagan. A little bit of Carol. She was a fun character. I really loved her.
What about you, Seth? Upon your reread?
I enjoyed it the second time around. I enjoyed the characters. I loved the story. And as said, they had really cute moments. And I felt like they were kind of... This sounds weird, but I kind of feel like they were the most human couple.
Interesting.
In the sense where, because Jo is, 25 and she has no idea about the lore... it kind of caused him to find that humanity again inside him and, kind of be on the same page with her, despite him being 7,000 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just felt like they had a more human-like relationship.
I can see that.
Yeah. And like the problems, obviously, like they were there, but I don't know. I just felt like they grew so much as a couple together, like as people. And I also loved how this book delivered on the bloody BJs.
Well, okay. I got something to say about that.
I thought it delivered.
Okay, here's the thing. It's the third one in the series. I was like, okay, first time, exciting, weird, wild, here for it. Second time, I was like, okay, still here for it. This is the third time that she mentions bloody blowjobs in the series. And I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit old at this point.
Really? I felt like this one really delivered on the bloody blowjobs.
It feels like every time there's a woman that can bite, she's like, bloody blowjob. And I don't know. To me,
well,
it's
because
like,
if you think about it, that's where like a lot of the male's blood is. So of course, you know, you would kind of want to.
Sure, I'm just talking about, like, I'm not talking about does it make sense? I'm talking about, is it exciting to me? And the third time, it wasn't as exciting to me because I was like, been there, done that. Well, you're allowed to like it.
I liked it. I just like how, like, Cressley Cole is, you know, kinky, and I love to see it, and I love to read about it, and I love how much Rune loved those bloody blowjobs, and I loved all the, you know, the feeding scenes, because I found they were very kinky, and like Rune was just so on board. And it kind of was, I mean, like obviously Lothair and like his blowjobs and like his feeding times were a bit like, they weren't shaded. He was like, you know, excited to have a female vampire. I don't know, I'm just like going off of like Lochlane and like how much he felt shame after certain scenes, and in this one Rune was like, I'm fully on board.
Well, I mean, yeah, because to him it was like he never thought he could ever do that, period, because he's poisonous. So it's like he probably never thought about his blood being drunk by anyone. You know what did not deliver though?
What?
Cressley Cole mentions spankings and it does not happen.
Oh my gosh! Again, she mentioned it and didn't deliver.
Cressley Cole, right. Please, just once. Actually, it did happen once with my man, Rydstrom, which is the only goddamn man in these 18. There's 18 men in this series, and only one of them has delivered on the goddamn spanking. Cressley Cole, we gotta chat. Like, this is not okay. This ratio is terrible. It's a war crime against me. All right. It's a hoe crime against me. That's what it is. Anyways, my opinion of the book is that I enjoyed it, but I will say it did. I was a little bit disappointed in the sense that I was expecting more, just because it was so hyped up. Because it's like you have Lothair and then you have Sweet Ruin, and those are like the two books that people rave about the most. I guess I'm a Lothair girl. Officially, that's where my allegiance falls. But I don't know. To me, it was like, I like the characters separately. I really like who they are and how they're built, and I like them, but I didn't necessarily feel the sparks together, or, you know, was particularly invested in like them together. I don't know. There was something missing for me there. Which, I don't know, I can't really put the finger on what it is that was missing for me, just that something was sort of keeping me from being like, oh yeah, this is one of my, like, ride or die couples in this series. And I will say that, like S, I don't know, I was like, I wanted to be supportive of Rune, but then towards the end, man, he started making decisions that I was like, you goddamn idiot, you're frustrating me right now. Like that one scene where, I don't know, he for whatever reason, I don't remember, maybe you can help me out here, he needed to fuck a nymph, and he wanted to go through with it, and he was really going to go through with it. And that's the scene where I was like, why are you doing this at this point in the story? That's a little weird to me. And, like, I get it, but I don't get it, you know?
And then the fact that he kept saying towards the end, I guess he said that he was kind of, like, manipulating her as well. And that he was going to try to change, I don't know how it was, that he was going to try to get her try to convince her to be okay with him fucking other people, because that was like part of his business or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that part, I was just like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And like, so for that scene, he was trying to get information, like a way into Valhalla, and to get that. So he was thinking like, is she gonna be more mad at me not being able to save her brother, or more mad at me, you know, sleeping with another woman? He doesn't equate like sex with, I guess, intimacy and love.
No, for sure not.
He's been doing it for 7,000 years. So for him, it was kind of like, wait, why is she getting mad about it? Like, I don't like hold the same importance. And then like it kind of kicked in. He's like, how I view feeding as like something private and intimate with just her, she views sex the same way. And like, it wasn't necessarily that he woke up and was like, yeah, no, never mind. Like, this is wrong. Like, he obviously couldn't get it up, but like, I don't know. I just feel like it was more so like he didn't realize how important it was to her. And like, as someone that was been living for so long and like had the past that he had, like, you know, as a sex slave, and then a forced, like, someone, like, he was forced into prostitution and like at such a young age, I just feel like sex has always been his way of survival.
Well, yeah, and he even mentions at some point that because of the abuse that he's gone through, he feels like he's two people. And so, and he says that he uses sex as more of a weapon. And he was sort of forced to become this assassin that he never wanted to be. And so, yeah, you're right that, like, to him, sex was never equated with something like intimacy and monogamy and, like, you know, being in love and having a relationship. Like, to him, it was always just this weapon that he can use to get, you know, whatever end he's trying to get. So yeah, you're right. It's just like, that's the sort of thing that I guess I expect of a character like him, maybe like 50% in the first 50%, and then you hope that he's made, you know, a little bit of, I don't know, does that make sense? Like, it was quite far in the book. like 70 or 80% into the book, and at that point I'm like, I was kind of hoping you would have realized this sooner, or just, like, you're in the process of realizing this, if that makes sense.
But I guess they weren't, like, you know, put in that situation earlier. You know, like, the climax was happening. They had to go save that. And, like, obviously, you know, when things get tough, real problems start coming out, you know?
Yeah.
Not that I agree with what he did. He's still a piece of shit. But I understand why this piece of shit did this.
Plus, like, now that I think about it, like, the interesting thing with those two is maybe that he doesn't understand intimacy or has never felt it before, or, like, you know, been intimate with someone, but, and on the flip side, for Jo, she yearns for affection, like, so much. It's such a huge thing for her. She says at one point, if she had someone real of her own, he'd own her heart, and that would anchor her to him. He'd never let her float away, because she has this, like, fear of, the whole, like, floating away concept, I kind of take it as, like, her fearing that she's just gonna disappear, that, like, she's just gonna exist without anyone knowing that she exists, type of thing. Like, she's just invisible to everyone. And she has this thing which she calls, like, her favorite drug, and it's, like, essentially she enters someone's body and, like, lets herself feel the love that the other person in the couple is giving to that person, because that's her only way of feeling this, like, affection, which is insane when you think about it, but, like, so sad, so deeply sad.
Yeah, so Marge, our ghost could be living inside us right now. Meaning, you know, not that way, but another way.
Why does that sound fucking sexual? I'm trying to go for, like, emotions, like, she's so, she yearns for it so much. But it's true, like, it's so fucking sad that, like, you're so invisible to the world around you that you're desperate for someone to anchor you to them, and then your only way of feeling that is to enter the privacy of someone else, of becoming someone else. Like, it's just...
And she even takes little mementos from them as well, so she remembers that experience and remembers those emotions that those people felt.
Like that wedding night, like,
so
when she was, like, someone's bride for a wedding night or whatever, I was like, oof.
Yeah.
Sad. So sad. And I kind of don't know that the book made it sound that sad.
With Rune, like his situation of him being used when he was younger, like it was sad, but it didn't deliver it as sad, at least for me. But when you actually sit down and think about it, like he went through a lot, and at such a young age.
But like, I mean, if you think about it, her last meaningful connection with someone was Thad. And, like, she couldn't have him. She left him when he was, like, a year or 2 years old.
Oh, that was tragic how it ended, too.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. So she comes back, and obviously Miss B and her husband all think that she died, and she came as a ghost to take Thaddeus away. And, like, she just got sent away. And, like, obviously Miss B didn't know about the lore. And, like, that's just so sad. And then she comes back to see Thaddeus happy with a puppy, and she's like, he's better off here. It's so sad that her only family forgot about her.
That's like one of my phobias in life, like just being forgotten. Ever since I was a kid, I was like,
well, I would never forget you, Mark.
Like, what if everyone forgets about me?
But feeling.
Yeah, and so I think that the thing that they actually really connect on is the fact that both of them have a life of limitations. Because for him, sex was always like, I can't do this, I can't taste that, I can't put that there, I can't do this. Like, it was always, I can't, but I have to because that's my job.
Yeah.
And for her, it was always like, I can't have this thing that I want so deeply. So I think it's kind of cute that, you know, that's the thing that connects them.
But it's also, it was his misinterpretation of what his role was in the Warrior. Or Orion basically said, your role wasn't to be like, you know, using sex to get information. That was never what I chose you for. And he's like, I only have one witch. I only have one dragon shifter. I only have one this and this and this. And then, you know, he ended up calling him Archer, and like that was his name. It wasn't like something like sex fiend or like man whore or like, I don't know, whatever, you know, like that was never his title. It was always Archer. And then that's when it hit Rune. My role has always been Archer. Like that's the only thing I've ever been known as. And like it kind of like obviously lifted a weight off of his shoulders. But like if only Orion would have cleared that up with him earlier. But I guess like Orion didn't have a reason to do that until he.
But I also think it shows, because he himself, like Rune himself, calls himself a whore multiple times in the book. And so I do think it just comes from his own assumptions about himself, about his worth. He thought that was all that was worthy in him. So he was like, all right, well, I'll use this then because that's all people want me for. That's all I've ever been, you know, used for. So it makes sense that, like, to him, Archer was like it never crossed his mind that it was only for that he was wanted by Orion. You know?
I know. And it's so sad that he started off so young. Like McReeve, he was like in his young teens when he started. Just because the Super Queen promised him his mother. And his mother was dead.
Some of these storylines, man, they are fucked up. Like,
I know.
You just mentioned McReeve, which I had completely forgotten. But that was fucked up.
I know. Wait, he was 9, right? He started at 9 until he was 13.
McReeve?
So he was younger than Rune, right?
Yeah.
Crescent Cole, where does your mind go sometimes? This is a dark, cold place.
Yeah. There was also, Malcolm was also a sex slave, wasn't he? I feel like he was a slave. He might have been a oh yeah, that's what it was. He was a blood slave to a man, but then the man was also using him for sex.
Yes.
It was disgusting too. He was young as well. His mother sold him. It was a whole thing.
Yes. His mother sold him.
Cressley Cole! Why you gotta be so depressing with these storylines? But you know, you have to appreciate how she's capable of like mixing in these like really depressing storylines, but then making them funny and like entertaining, and like at the end you're satisfied and you feel like the characters are in a better place, and like it's never looming over the story in a way that like it's so heavy all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's like, no, I can enjoy myself and also have a character who has a fucked up past.
Exactly.
So
exactly. And I really enjoy that I think Cressley Cole is really good at writing, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
But like I also think Nyx is one of our best written characters, despite her not really having POVs.
Down. Agreed. Co-signed.
And why I brought her up is, like, she played Rune and Jo so well in this book. Like, she knew Rune would possess the Phoenix Feather, and obviously we know her full name is Phoenix. And it, like, I don't know if he used that to knock out the Scourge, the red, you know, female things that protect the Valhall and the Valkyrie in there. You know, like, they have their hair, and apparently their time was up, meaning that the Scourge would possess the Valkyrie. But because they couldn't protect them, their contract was kind of null and void, and they couldn't continue their relationship, so they had to start from afresh. I don't remember if they left. Anyways, all I know is the Valkyrie, because of Rune, are free from the Scourge, and she also knew about Jo's vow to not drink blood if she wasn't included in the plot to kill her. And so Miss Nyx made him nullify the vow by saying he would stop all attempts on her life. So again, Nyx was like, I'm not gonna die by you. Like, she just, like, planned it so well.
She's just so badass. I love her. She's crazy as hell. But she's just, like, remember Lothair with his supposedly, like, 1,000 endings that he needed to, like, you know, figure out. Nyx is over here, like, having exponentially more things to figure out and make happen, and she's doing the damn thing. She's doing it. Yeah, and I'm like, Nyx, bravo. Sometimes you do really questionable things, but I love you.
Can we also talk about how amazing she is at forming alliances? Like, the fact that Lothair was there just hanging out and was like, yeah, I'll protect you guys, I guess. I'm here. And then, like, I just, like, love how nonchalant, like, everyone there was. And, like, the house was, like, teeming with, like, all these different creatures from the lore, all because of Nyx. Like, she kind of unified all of them.
Yeah.
Love her. Love to be her. I wish I could be her.
Same.
Did you have any, like, things that you liked about this book, like, any scenes that you really stood out for you?
I think one of the scenes that I really liked was the scene where they kind of open up with each other, Rune and Jo. And I think that's what pissed me off a lot, was because I feel like they kind of, like, got each other. They understood, and he was willing to be that person, that anchor for her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the scenes that I really.
But then he turns around and he
ruined it for me.
Yeah,
he really did.
But can I just say, I really liked the ending where he decided to give her that space that she needed with Thad, and like, he was still there, but he respected her boundaries. Like, I just loved how realistic and
healthy,
human-like that was. Like, respecting people's how healthy it was, respecting people's boundaries. Like, I love that he did that.
Don't come for my bed. And you know what? In when I was doing, like, the whole rating thing, and when I was reading and I was thinking of, like, oh, you know what? I was like, I think Rune is gonna take Lacklane's spot. I was like, it's gonna happen. Like, the girls are gonna be proud. And
Can you imagine, like, her number one being a dark face / what is he, demon? No, vampire. No, demon.
Demon.
Can you imagine on S's list? Breaking news.
Well, I mean, he was a different species than all of us.
Yeah,
so,
but
like,
then I'm guessing from this that spoiler alert, I don't think it happened.
Last spot?
So no,
he's in last spot, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we still have Cian left, so who knows? Who knows? Maybe he'll steal her heart.
How did you feel about his introduction in this? Wait, we didn't even talk about the warrior. How did you guys feel about the new side of things? So, like, they're apparently, like, the opposing side of this accession, basically.
Which is an interesting thing to do 18 books into this series, I feel like. But, you know.
It never gets boring with Cressley Cole.
How did you feel, S, about all these new characters coming in? The plot widens a lot.
I know, right? New characters, new love, interest.
Which one's the one where he completely shifted into, like, his animal form, or was it
like
the dragon?
The dragon guy?
Werewolf. Was it the original werewolf?
Oh,
where he was already, like, in his form and he was, like, stuck in it.
The Rock or something like that.
Was it a werewolf or was it the dragon?
I swear he was in one of the the Like books, like in the forest. I remember them mentioning a Durak.
Oh, perhaps.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he was lurking, you know. Ooh. I think it's interesting they have a lot of the OGs. They have the oldest vampire with them. They have the oldest Like, like one of the first ones. They have Orion, which, you know, is clearly quite old, and you know, like I feel like they're like the boomers coming back and being like, we're gonna reclaim this space. Thank you very much.
Boomers. Yeah, because Blaze, the first vampire, literally wears old clothes. Yeah. I'm literally picturing Louis from Interview with a Vampire. Like that's who I'm picturing as Blaze. And I'm like, great, I would love to see him try to adapt to Earth today.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel though like Nyx belongs with them? Like why is Nyx here? Like why Lothair and Nyx, they're both here, but then everyone else that's like in the same league as them is with the other ones. Like what happened there?
As much as like Lothair was kind of lost and kind of lost his humanity for a second, I feel like they're still very much human-like, and they still very much respect human life and like kind of want that connection. And like, I don't know, I just feel like if Nyx loses that connection with like the world itself, then maybe she could join her husband.
Sure. I love how you tried to rationalize Lothair, of all people, who is not.
Shut up! They already have a vampire. They're not taking my man.
Fine. They have the oldest vampire, which I was eyeing him. I was like, who that? Because I do like me vampires apparently. So like, I'm interested. Show me what you got.
I'm also interested by the dragon shifter guy. Just the idea of him shifting into a dragon. I know Krusty Cole would give us some like kinky stuff.
Do you think he's got a weird dick? Like a scaly dick, maybe?
Oh, okay, I don't know about scaly. Ew!
It's all soft, though. It's all soft. It's not like...
You know scales shed, so imagine that shedding inside.
Maybe it goes in, but then the scales, like, make it unable to come out until completion, and then it can...
Like a knot?
Yeah, like a scaly knot that's not a knot. Not at the base of it. Like just the whole penis is just scales, but then when it goes in, it's smooth, but then when it tries to go out, it can't go out.
Ooh, wouldn't that rip you apart? Wouldn't that be so abrasive? Okay, Krusty Cole, please write his book so we know what his dick looks like.
I bet you it's regular dick. She loves regular dicks, unfortunately for us.
But she loves piercings. Oh my gosh, Joe had piercings.
Did she?
That's right.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Yep, she had a clit piercing and 2 nipple piercings.
Oh my god, that is right.
But this time, yeah, we actually got to see them in action.
Yeah, we did, because Malcolm disappointed with his 4 dick piercings, unfortunately.
I know.
So.
I know, that was so sad. Anyways, we're so pervy. Let's move on.
Can we stay on the on the subject matter just to say that I feel like Rune is the dirtiest talker of the series. Do you agree?
I know, and I love it.
He literally says, and I wrote it down, folks.
Oh my gosh.
Said, "Suck me like you mean it, you little bitch."
Yeah.
I was like, if this was anyone else, I'd be like, what the fuck? But it's Rune, and it makes sense. So I was like, okay. Okay, Rune. Yeah. That's hot.
Yeah, it was hot. And, like, I remember because I finished it, like, I think 2 days ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this, but I shouldn't. But I did.
Exactly. It's like, I shouldn't like this, but I'm weak. Yeah. Oh, and also, an interesting thing here is that you talked about the nymphs. We actually get a new perspective on the nymphs in this book because we have Dolly,
yeah.
Who is a nymph, but she's really not like anything we've seen before. She's like, I don't know, I really liked how we got this new perspective because it's like they're not just sex crazed beings. It's kind of like remember McCreeve's love interest, what was her name? Chloe. She was a succubi, and like remember how the whole perspective of this world on succubi was like, oh, they're just sex crazed people, blah blah blah, and then turns out they're not really. So I kind of got the same feeling here of like, hey, we have you know, we always thought that the nymphs were this thing, but then like you have Dolly who's like, wait, I'm actually pretty normal, you know, and I don't know, I like that because we don't like pejorative
I just think
portrayals here.
Yeah, and I enjoyed seeing that side of her. And I think, obviously, like the succubi, they need to have sex. Like, I honestly think they just need it. And, like, maybe they go, you know, bouts without it. And, like, they kind of go nymphomaniac-like. Hence why, you know, that name came from them. Yeah, I liked her. And I kind of want to know more, like, about the nymphs. But, like, through her eyes. I wouldn't mind reading a book with her. I liked her. Can we also talk about Dash? He had more, I guess, page time in this one. How did you guys feel about him? My pirate. I love him. I want him to have a book. Yeah. He deserves a book.
After reading this one, I was like, okay, he does deserve one.
Really?
He really does.
I wasn't. Yeah. I was just like, I don't understand why this is the hill that Seth decided to die on.
Why? He's so adorable and he's so respectful.
Yeah. He's just a goddamn pirate. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, picture like a hot ass pirate.
But listen, he is a demon. He is a demon.
Pirate.
He is a demon, which gives him points in my book.
And his horns apparently are really big. So I'm just saying, give me Dash's book. That's all I want.
Yeah, I'm just saying that him and Joe could have, you know, him and Joe could have
done it.
Yeah,
had sex. Fucked.
Yeah.
I wasn't like opposed to it. Probably because I wasn't as into her and Rune, so I was like, oh, here's another option. I'm not against it, you know?
I just think he deserves it. He seems to always lose the girl in the end. Like, you know? Like, not lose the girl, like he had a chance.
But he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's like a player. He's like having fun.
Yeah.
I know. But just for my sake, I think he needs to have at least one positive experience.
Sure.
I don't know. I just don't know. I just think he needs a book. At the very least. Or even a novella. Anyways, I'm spending too long on this Dash talk, but...
Oh, you know what else I was sort of disappointed about? Was the fact that, so Joe had this, like, choker, and then she writes, like, runes in blood on it. And I was like...
Yeah.
That would be so hot if it was Rune that had done the bloody ruins on her choker.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, that could have been a great scene. I would have been like, fine, you didn't give me the spanking, but you got me a bloody choker scene. It's fine. But no.
But I did like the final scene where he sees her and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I kind of don't want to go anywhere. Like, I don't know, I'm like a sucker for those types of scenes because she sounded like she looked really hot, and like Rune, who's seen his fair share of females and, you know, of all species, was like floored by her. I'm like, wow, her power.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, how did you feel about Abyssian? Like, so he was mentioned quite a bit. He was kind of like Rune's friend. Yeah. And he's the guy of the next book. Well, the last one.
To be honest, I don't remember. I don't remember an Abyssian.
He's like Satan. He's like the demon of all demons.
Yeah. Yeah. And because his brother died, his brother was Gorloff. So that was the villain in Cade's book, right? No.
Oh boy, you're going way back. Way back in time.
Damn, who was Gorloff?
It wasn't the guy from Cade's book. That was the brother of the other guy. The guy that fucked corpses.
Oh, right. Omor, yeah.
Well, I don't remember.
We shall see, I guess.
We shall see in the next book. So no thoughts.
All right, monster of the story.
Right.
For Rune. His monster was being a fucking idiot.
Do we need to come up with a name for him?
And I was thinking too, I was like, what name can I give him?
Rune the fucking idiot? Do you want to go with that?
We can go with that. We can go with that.
What?
Or Rune. No, we need some alliteration here.
I don't know.
Well, we're gonna have to think of that one.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that one.
He really needs a name. But no, I was like, I had like my little paragraph. I was like, Rune, he had his, like, I thought about that, where he had like his apprehension of Joe seeing his memories of when he was like in the brothel, and I thought that played a lot in him not wanting to get close to her. But then he went to go ruin it, and I'm just like, nope, the monster he's an idiot. That was his.
I mean, I do think that, like, he has a very low esteem of himself. Not as in, like, he has no self-confidence, but in the sense that, like, his own view of himself is very, very low. But also what I had was, like, at some point he says, let me just find the quote. So he says, meaning Joe, she fears of floating away. I fear of extinguishing my emotions forever. And I think that plays into his monster of, like, his low esteem of himself, or low image of himself, I guess, have made it so he's really cut out every emotion in his life, because to him he just became one thing. And let's be honest, it wasn't his fault. Like, his upbringing was really dark, and it made him have that image of himself, which wasn't accurate, but it did make it so he believed that, like I said earlier on, he was only good for one thing, and that thing didn't allow for things like emotions. So yeah, I think that's part of it for him. And like I said, for her, it was obviously, like, her fear of just going poof, like, just no one knowing that she exists, and having no one in her life. And, imagine, like, you die and no one cares. I think that's, like, sort of part of it for her.
So for me, I kind of labeled it as, like, both of them not being able to let go of the past.
Yeah.
Like, for him, he was, like, obviously, like we said, like, I don't want to repeat what you said, but yeah, he was brutalized as a child. He was forced to be a prostitute, and, like, for 7,000 years, that's really all he thought, his skills were, and, like, that's all he thought, his future held for him. And yeah, he just sabotaged his relationship because he was still playing the prostitute, because of his past, and, like, it caused for, like you said, him not having any self-worth, or, like, having any, like, I guess, belief in himself. And, like, for Joe, she kind of was stuck in the past because of her brother. She couldn't seem to, obviously remember what happened in the past. And we find out later on that she's from Apparitia, which is, like, a realm made of, like, phantom-like vampire creatures. And yeah, and so basically, because of the past that she couldn't remember, she had, like, this intense desire to be the protector for Thad that kind of morphed into wanting to be his mother. And, like, because of her perceived failure of not being able to protect Thad, or, like, not being able to be his guardian, she lived in the shadows and was never able to really form connections with people. And she, like, lived her life as a literal ghost because of, like, that one connection she held to anyone not being there anymore. And it kind of obviously connects to what you two said about her, like, fearing floating away and, like, not being remembered by anyone.
Yeah.
So,
but I do feel like saying, like, letting go of the past as far as Rune, like, it implies making a conscious choice and being conscious of what you're going through, which I don't think he was. I think it was all, like, subconsciously he thought these things about himself, and so he did those things, type of thing. Whereas he needed to realize that he was sort of continuing this pattern because it was what was, like, instilled in his brain of, like, this is what you're worthy of. So I don't think it was, like, a conscious decision to, like, let go of the past. It was more like just a realization he needed to, come to, that, like, do you realize the pattern that you're doing? Which is really interesting because, like, oftentimes I'm losing my voice. When you go through trauma like that, it has repercussions on your subconscious and makes you take those kinds of decisions that you're like, why do I keep on having this pattern in my life that is destructive or, unfulfilling or whatever? And so yeah, I don't think it was, like, letting go perhaps, but just, like, realizing the effects of the past maybe.
And I think accepting what happened, because he wasn't, like you said, he wasn't really willing to work through his traumas. And, like, while of course he felt anxiety and fear of Joe dreaming his past, and, like, he kind of didn't want her to experience that, like, he wasn't really dealing with what happened.
Yeah, this whole, like, idea of, like, or mentality, I guess, of like, oh, I'm tough enough. I can just like keep on living my life. I don't need to think about this. I don't need to analyze these feelings and like figure myself out and who I am after trauma. And like, I'll just keep on moving on. But then it's like that catches up with you, you know, and it's destructive and you shouldn't do that. So
I have a question. Should we do it after ranking?
no, we should do it now.
If you had the chance to be a primordial of a certain species, what would it be?
Ooh. I don't know. I thought was it Alexa? I thought she was kind of annoying. But like, she's kind of badass. But we didn't get to see any of her badassness.
Mm-hmm. But she was a, something with the witches, no?
Yeah, she was like the oldest witch, or like the...
See, they got all the boomers of every like type of Lorian. What is up with this?
What boomer do you want to be?
What boomer do I want to be? Well, you know what? I mean, if I could be female, I would want to be like the female equivalent of what Rune is.
Like Natalia.
Like, that's pretty cool. You're a dark fae and a demon.
Like Natalia.
Who is that?
The dark fae that was in the cell with Reagan and Thad, and like Thad kind of wants her to be like his partner.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, sure. Like her. Yeah. I just think that that's cool. I like the demons in this series. I would want to be a demoness, but then I'm like, the dark fae are kind of fun. Like that dark fae in Lothar's book, like the friend.
Yeah, she was.
She was cool. So like the mix of the two is like the best of both worlds.
You're gonna have to go so long without being able to touch people, basically.
But isn't that everyone in this series? Like,
I guess, but I just feel like for them, like they're still able to have connections with people prior to finding their mate. Mine is vampires because they can't get it up.
All right. Well, you want me to change my answer? I'm gonna change it to whatever gets me married to Cian, because then I'm literally Satan's wife.
I know, and like,
I love that.
He's great.
There you go.
Okay, fine. For me, I would like to be a primordial of, something that has wings, or either something. I don't know, man. I suck at this. I suck at these games. Like, I'm really trying to, like...
But I feel like there's so many different things now that it's difficult
and
to
like,
choose,
maybe there's, like, a primordial
cool.
or, like, a species we haven't even discovered yet in this series. Like, mermaids, you never know. So, maybe I could want to be a mermaid. Like, I don't know.
What kind of cough was that? Was that, like, a... You'll see?
No, it was like we haven't discovered mermaids type of.
Oh.
Meaning, like, that's like what we like. I feel like we should like find a mermaid, like a mermaid that could like
That'd
maybe
be cool.
I guess have legs when they're on land or whatever. Because I don't know how that would work.
But there's not a whole lot of water action in these books. Have you noticed that? Besides the one time we went under the ocean to like get to
maybe Nereus.
Oh,
maybe
we could
his mate.
Yeah,
but he also doesn't he grow a tail when he's in the water? Nereus or whatever.
Who?
The like sea god.
Ooh, he might. Yeah, I mean there were like underwater nymphs, which could be like the equivalent of a mermaid. Of a mermaid.
I mean, just all this to say, I don't know. Whatever gets me lost there.
No, you girls. Whatever gets me is Satan, and then whatever gets me lost there. No.
What's your answer then? Because clearly you probably prepped one.
Well, okay. I know.
Okay.
I'll change my answer. I'll be, reasonable about it. No marrying Satan, unfortunately. Maybe next week. What I will say is, you know what? I think I would be the female equivalent of the dragon shifter, because that's cool as fuck. You're like invincible. I could burn you to the ground like that. I'm a big ass dragon. Yes. Thank you. I don't know what the name of it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called either. Like Uther or something. Uther or something.
Well, that's his name.
Oh yeah, that's his name.
Actual name, but like not the species.
Okay, fine. I have an answer. My answer is I would like to be the primordial of, you know, an apparition. So that's what like Joe and Thaddeus is. So like they're, you know, half phantom, half vampire. That way I still get to be a vampire and maybe get a vampire mate. But that's not why I'm focusing on that. I like the idea of like disappearing, you know, like not disappearing, not like but like if I ever need to fight, I can't fight for shit. So like that's why I'd be like whoop and like invisible.
Yeah, no, that's
disappear.
Yeah. That's my answer.
I think for me, what I really liked was, what's his name? Orion?
Oh, yeah.
Orion?
I don't know what he is.
The one that can just, like, disappear.
We don't know what he is, do we?
The mystery of that. I really love that he can just, like, easily destroy worlds and...
Yeah, just by, like, closing his fist. Oh.
What if, like, oh my god, what if he's literally a god? Like, he's literally a god, and Nyx is literally becoming a goddess. And that's them.
Yeah.
I guess. I just want to know what
they're like the Adam and Eve of the series. They're like the parents.
Well, they kind of are, you know, like they're kind of like making things happen and like putting people together like meddling parents do. Yeah. I could see it. So you'd want to be Orion, the Undoing?
Orion, whatever mystery thing he is. Because it seems like he's the only one of his kind, right?
As far as we know.
All right,
let's rank the characters. Let's start with the women. Steph, you go first.
Me? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right. Not really much changed. Number 12 goes to Naomi. 11, Emma. 10 spot is Danny. 9th is Lanthe. 8th goes to Lucia. 7th goes to Caro. 6th goes to Holly and Cleo. 5th spot goes to Mist. And then 4th is Katerin and Joe. 3rd spot is Sabine and Mariquetta. 2nd, Reagan. And 1st spot is Elizabeth.
All right, us.
Everybody gets a number. Like, I didn't do, like, 2 for a number or anything. So I just did it like that.
Ooh, wow.
You did it the right way.
15, Naomi. 14, Daniela. 13th, Lanthe. 12th, Chloe. 11th, Miss. 10th, Katerin. 9th, Sabine. 8th, Carol. 7th, Elizabeth. Wait a minute. 7th, Elizabeth. 6th, Emma. 5th, Joe. 4th, Reagan. 3rd, Lucia. 2nd, Holly. And 1st, Mariquetta.
Lock your doors at night. I am coming. Sabine and 9th.
That's a good.
What a
that's
shame.
A good number for her.
What a disrespect.
Good number.
Marge feels so disrespected right now.
Yeah. That's my whole identity is like, Sabine! All right, mine is, in 12th spot is Emma, then 11 is Lanthe, 10th is Daniela and Josephine, 9th is Caro, 7 is Chloe, 6th is Lucia and Katerin, 5th is Mariquetta, 4th is Holly, 3rd is Mist and Ellie, 2nd is Reagan, and 1st is Sabine. And by the way, I did a lot of rearranging in my lists.
Pause. So Naomi didn't even place?
Oh. She's the last one. Sorry, I skipped her over. Oh, sorry. Yep. No, she's there. All right, the men.
Okay, men. Okay, 12th spot goes to Lachlan. 11 to Thronos. That's his face. 10th, Murdoch. 9th, Sebastian and Nikolai. 8th goes to Rune. Although I'm really like, I don't know. I think I might even put Rune to 9th and then Nikolai stays at 8. Yeah, let's do that. 9th, Sebastian and Rune. And then 8th, Nikolai. And then 7th goes to Gareth and McGreeve. 6th spot is Cades. 5th is Malcolm. 4th is Rydstrom. 3rd is still Bowen. 2nd is Conrad and Declan Chase. And then 1st spot, surprise, surprise, Lothair. Okay, so the only reason, not the only reason, but there's multiple reasons, but one that really stuck out for me for Rune, like him being 9th, or was he 8th? No, he was 9th. Is because of the amount of, like, people he's been with. I'm not shaming him in any way, but just think about it. He's 7,000 years old, and, like, he's been with multiple people each night. Like, that's kind of gross.
But Seth, that's literally every man on the list, besides the ones that couldn't ejaculate until they got
I know,
blooded.
but he's the, like, oldest that we've ever encountered. 7,000.
7,000. Think about, like, how has he not fucked the entirety of Earth?
How did his dick not fall off?
Well, because he can't ejaculate. But, like, then again, it's like, ouch. Yeah. Like, he can't.
Because it wouldn't even just be one person a night. It would be multiple people at one time.
Yeah.
And then, like...
But then he can never come. That's,
they
like,
can
the
still,
biggest...
like, you know, come, but they can't ejaculate any fluids. Why are we getting into biology here?
Well, because it's just rotting in there.
Ew,
you know, it's not coming out for 7,000 years.
Gross.
Imagine the buildup. Like, he should be one of the orcs from that other series that just keeps on fucking coming.
And, like, not, like, it just, like, falling out? Yeah. Anyways, let's hear yours.
Yeah.
S.
S.
Oh. Okay.
Last one.
She was uninterested by our conversation in semen.
Okay, so 15 Thronos, 14 McGreeve, 13 Murdoch, 12 Conrad, 11 Sebastian, 10th Lothair, 9th Nikolai, 8th Malcolm, 7th Declan, 6th Rune. He was going to be 5th, but, you know, 5th Rightstone, 4th Black Lane, 3rd Kadon, and then 12th Gareth, and then 1st Bowen.
Okay, 2 things. First of all, it's been a while since the Lothair episode. I did not remember he was that low on your list.
She's doing it for spite. She's doing it for spite because I have her man at last spot. And I'm going to fight you.
Listen. Last time he was 8th. So he went down 2.
For who? For Rune?
For Rune.
Honestly,
I would lock my doors at night because Lothair's gonna get you.
And then
he would get you himself. I don't even need to send my man to you.
He gonna kill you.
He heard your list and he's coming. As soon as like the sun goes down, he's coming.
Let him come.
But also, can I say that I'm feeling very victorious in the sense that Rydstrom is 5th on her list. That is very high. I'm taking that as a win. I'm winning today.
Okay, fine. Take it as a win. Let's hear your list, Marge.
Whale.
She turned southern on us.
13th. Whale. 13th is Lachlan. 12th is Murdoch. 11 is Sebastian and Conrad. 10th is Malcolm. 9th is McCreeve. 8 is Thronos. 7 is Rune. 6 is Bowen. 5th is Cade. 4th is Garrett. 3rd is Nikolai. 2nd is Rydstrom and Lothair. And then 1st is Declan.
Okay.
Where do you have Bowen? Where's Bowen?
Bowen is 6th.
Oh, you know what? You have, like, my favorite guys, like...
Okay, but your favorite guys, like, Lachlan should not even be your favorite, but we're not getting into that. You never gave me your essay.
Shut up.
You never gave us your tell-all. So.
S is just excited for us to finish the series so we can stop being on her case about Lachlan.
He is staying.
Well, we're almost done.
All right. Well, that was that.
I still want to fight S. 10th spot for enemy of old.
He's gonna go lower if you continue. He's gonna go lower on the next book. Just saying. Continue. I'm gonna move him down.
You know you can double up, right?
I didn't want to, but no, that's another thing. I didn't double up this time. Everybody got a...
Why don't you just double up? It makes life easier, even though we're cheating.
No.
If you had S to call on one of these men to save you from Lothair, who would you call? Who do you think can take him on?
Any of these men?
If you say Lachlan, girl.
No. I think I would...
Like, who could really take him on?
Exactly. It's taking her so long because she can't get an answer.
Either Bowen or Rydstrom, I think.
Good luck. They're going to die in 2 seconds.
No?
Sorry, I'm getting nasty, but like
the attitude. Bowen, I don't think so.
No.
Rydstrom maybe could fight him.
No. And I say that with all the love in my heart. I don't think that Rydstrom could.
Like, if anything, I think Rune could stand a chance because of his blood. Like, if he could just, like, you know, get Lothair to, like, ingest his blood somehow, then maybe.
You know what? I would say Declan. Because Declan and Lothair have this weird thing going on between them. Plus,
because you ship it? Yeah.
Because I ship it. Plus, he actually did get one on Lothair at some point. So I do.
But it's only because Lothair chose to do that and beat it.
Sure, but I do think that they're both equal in mind.
Equal in mind, but I don't know, like, equal in force.
But Lothair is not about the force. Lothair is about the mind games.
True.
So he needs someone who's on his level, and I do think that Declan's sort of insanity is, you know, comparable. So that's true. I do think that those two could have fun together, and you know, yeah,
we know which fun you're talking about and thinking about and dreaming about.
All the sorts of fun. All right.
Moving
on. Ending this episode. I hope you liked it.
We're all over the place this episode.
Yeah. If you liked it, you can message us on social media. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also, on some podcast apps, you can leave us a little like. Basically anything. And if you want to reach us or find us online, you can reach us on Twitter at the RTM Pod, as well as on Instagram at Romancing the Monsters Podcast. We also have a TikTok, which is Romancing the Monsters Pod. If you want some book recs, go check it out. And you can also email us at romancingthemonsterspodcast@gmail.com, which is the list that keeps on giving. But if, in case you missed any of that, it's always listed down below in the description of the episode. You can also find me on both Twitter and Instagram at Foes and Lovers.
And you can find me on both Instagram and Twitter at ButThisBook.
And you can find me, Saf, on both Instagram and Twitter at Pros with Woes.
I swear to God, it's a mental exercise to try and remember all of those.
I know. I commend you to remember all of those social media handles.
That's why my speech changes every week, because it's like I can't remember what I'm saying every week, you know? It's always in a different order. Anywho, that's it. See you next week. Well, hopefully see you next week. And
bye.
Bye.